Start again.
The Miscreant Hour.
This is a sweet opening, right? I did it pretty good when I made this, right?
Sometimes you need to know when to put on your pants and leave.
Yeah, just seriously, put your dick away and bounce. Welcome.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We are back for another episode of the Miscreant Hour.
We're doing our podcast finally, huh?
Yeah, we've been on a little bit of hiatus. Things have been, whatever they've been.
Same shit.
Yeah, so we're back, and we'd like to thank you all again for joining us. We are so happy to be here. Well, I'd be happier in the arms of a beautiful woman,
Yeah, me too.
but I'm here with you. So,
Yeah, and
it is what it is.
like you were saying, we actually had to do a second take today. But,
Yeah.
we're going to try to add more structure to the shows because we've realized they've been sucking dick.
Yeah, they've been like way too freestyle, way too what's going on in our boring fucking lives. Well, I mean, they might not be boring, but hearing the same fucking thing over and over again. What drugs did you take? Who did you fuck? Who did you want to fuck that you didn't fuck?
Yeah.
Boring. So, this episode, we are going to try and get a little bit back on track,
Yeah,
and we have a
instead
few topics laid out that we're going to discuss.
Yeah, and so just like, you guys have sex?
So, what did you do
You guys
this
are
weekend?
adults that have sex? Oh, interesting.
Cool. Wow.
Wow.
So is
fucking
everybody
incredible.
else. So, this show is we're gonna get a little political. Mr. Blue and I were having a pretty, actually good political debate earlier. Well, not much of a debate because we were pretty much in agreement, but it was a good.
Yeah, we were actually talking about the Republican candidates for
Right.
election 2016.
Yeah. As everyone knows, I don't know if you guys follow what's going on in politics. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't, because it's a load of shit. But if you
It
do,
doesn't really matter.
no.
As I've said that at least a number of times, but
But we started talking about some of the Republican candidates and the state of the government as is, and it kind of brought us into a cool conversation about libertarianism and
'cause
neoconservatism.
I was kind of for Rand, and I still like Rand Paul on some issues.
Right, Mr. Blue brought up up Rand
'cause
Paul.
I was like, we need a good libertarian to fucking, because to me that would be the perfect balance.
yeah,
To run the country. And John and I mentioned Rand Paul, and then Skaggs was like, "Nah, he's kind of fucking sucks on a lot of social issues." I was like, "Are you sure?" Like I could have sworn and then I went and rechecked on some of his stances on
and
social
you saw
issues.
what he was
and
actually really.
it's awful.
Yeah.
He's not for gay marriage.
Yeah, he's not really for
He's
pro-choice.
He's pro-life.
He's pro-life. Yeah.
And then he's for another thing is for drone use in the country.
Right, but he calls himself a libertarian
But
with
that's not
social views
you're
like
not really
that.
a libertarian.
Not even close. So what brought that debate on is, Blue was asking me what I thought about some of the Republican candidates, and I basically said that and my stance really on both parties is that right now the Republicans are being damaged and doing themselves a big disservice, and Blue agreed with me on this, with the fact that their stance on the social issues is totally fucked up. People don't like how socially conservative they are, as far as being against gay marriage, being against abortion, all that.
That's one thing that they really just need to let go.
Right, exactly.
I know I think they almost do it on just tradition now at this point.
Well, yeah, because the traditional conservative Republican belief system
is pro-life.
is socially conservative about domestic social issues. You're conservative across the board, so you're conservative governmentally and economically and socially. The liberals are obviously the complete reverse. So both sides are on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? That's what we have, this two-party system. And what you have in between is really what the libertarian is. And some of you guys have heard my rants online about libertarianism, so I'll try not to give another douchey one tonight. But I think with the state of the country, at least right now, and the way people are kind of hating on the Republicans for their outdated stances on social issues, and also hating on Democrats for their fucking ridiculously stupid economic and massive government practices, that a kind of balance could be met in the middle, which would be met by like a good libertarian candidate, kind of like a younger Ron Paul, because Ron Paul's too fucking old. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean he's stepping down.
Yeah, he's not gonna. No, he what is he gonna be president for 2 years? Even if he gets elected and die, he's old as fucking shit. He can't be president.
He endorses his son Rand.
Which is probably out of a sense of familial obligation more than anything else, because he doesn't agree with him on any of his, on really anything besides, you know, his economic stance, but socially he doesn't agree with him at all.
Economically, yeah, they're more kind of in line. And some of this new privacy issues that come up now with the NSA and knowing that they collect all our phone records and essentially spy on every American.
Rand Paul does want to repeal the Patriot Act.
He does want to, yes.
He does want to get rid of that, which
I like.
I'm a fan for. You know, and he does want overall on the conservative side smaller government and, you know, less taxes, and he wants to close a lot of these useless government departments that serve no purpose. You know what I mean? Like Department of Education, TSA, all these lettered organizations. There's a million of them now. They also have no purpose but to be a massive drain on the economy and tax dollars. So close all those fucking stupid organizations. You know, lower the tax rate, stop the regulation, let business and the free market do its thing.
Right.
So, and that is a traditionally conservative mindset on how to run government and how to run the economy. But like we said before, where people are like, fuck you, is their stupid, super outdated stance socially.
He's also, I mean, not that it's a bigger issue or when that really matters too much, but yeah, he's also against legalization of marijuana.
Right.
Which is like, who gives a fuck? And the tax money would really help save the economy.
Exactly. So for him to call himself...
Take a chunk of the debt. Everyone knows it would.
Well, England did the same. When they legalized prostitution, and ended up becoming a massive... benefit for the government in the in regulation and tax
the way
dollars.
Our politicians spend money. I mean, we need something to fucking make up for it.
Sure, right. But that comes down to the drug war that we have in this country that we've been having since the 70s, and the way that the government or a few select people in government want and profit off of the fact that drugs are illegal and the black market, propping up cartels. It's been happening, forever with the Iran-Contra scandal in the 80s, with the CIA propping up certain cartels and pushing crack into the inner cities. The government is very, very involved in the direct sale and distribution of drugs in America, period. That's just on record. Media never talks about it, but if you want to look up the facts and look up the congressional hearings, they're out there. It never gets brought up. So I think that's why the drug war will keep going, which is why we need somebody like a libertarian Ron Paul, a younger Ron Paul, who's not his douchey son, who could kind of come in and split the difference, who's tough on prison reform. We need a serious change to and crushing the prison industrial complex and reforming the entire system, stop locking up nonviolent drug offenders,
actually,
get people out of jails and prisons.
Ted Cruz recently just reamed someone about that.
Yeah, he's actually...
He's like, so you released over 100,000 convicted murderers and rapists, but yet you have a 5-year minimum on certain drug offenses.
Yeah, it's preposterous, and I'm not a fan of Obama in any way, shape, or form.
No,
but
he's a scumbag.
But what I do like, and as of recently, what he's trying to do with his last time in office is he's been a big proponent of prison reform, and he wants to get the prison population down. He said in a few speeches, the same kind of thing where, why are we locking up all these nonviolent drug offenders? Let's get them out of prison. And I like that. And so if he were to follow through on this one promise, it would, I wouldn't rethink my overall impression of him, but he would leave me with a much better taste in my mouth than his current record as it stands right now. If he were to actually follow through on this prison reform.
He's just like anyone else. That man is bought by the higher elite, and if you don't think so, then you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. But that's a whole other debate. Really, is our government a democracy, or do we live in more of a plutocracy where it's money that buys the power? That's more of what it is, because it's a few select, very rich people, George Soros and all these cajillionaires who back certain presidential candidates, and they have the clout and they have the money to put literally whoever they want in office with the condition that they serve their interests and the interests of their friends.
What about that shit with the Bush election? He owned those electronic voting machines.
Of course he did.
And they know for a fact it was rigged. It's basically proven.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because he was going to win anyway. Whether you know what I mean?
That's
like these people.
Yeah, I think they pre-decide who's going to be in office.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. I don't have any hard evidence to back this up, other than what I've seen just throughout my life and my own kind of impression of it all. But it seems like to me, they know who's going to be president a full term before that
Yeah.
person is actually going to be in office. You know what I mean? They probably knew Obama was going to be
Yeah,
president
and
back
what
when
the
Bush was
fuck?
still in office. They were grooming him when he was a random
Yeah.
senator in fucking Chicago.
The fucking the presidential candidate owns the fucking voting machines.
That was just that was like a big slip up on their part to even let that get into the news, you know, because, you know.
Oh yeah,
That was just stupid.
More shady shit.
Yeah, every once in a while they do slip up, and the mask kind of slips away for a second, and you get a glimpse
Of what's really
going on. Yeah. For the most part, they're pretty on the ball, which is why you have to do your own research and then form your own conclusions. But if you rely on what you see on the major news networks, you're never going to know what the fuck is going on, because the shit that they spout on a daily basis, I don't care if it's Fox News, CNN, I don't give a fuck. Conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. They're all a part of the mainstream media and spout shit on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So if that's your news source, you know,
Right.
you're seriously undereducated right now.
I read
Seriously.
another interesting poll the other day that I think it said about 49% of Americans don't believe the government's story of 9/11.
That's interesting. That's an
At
interesting
the very
statistic.
least, like they at least have questions or don't fully believe.
Right. So I was
their
going
account of the.
to ask you, that's saying not that they necessarily believe it's a massive governmental conspiracy, but they believe that something is not being
Right.
said, that the official story is not completely true. Not to say that they know how much of it is untrue or what is untrue about it, but that something about
They just
it
feel
feels
something's off about it.
I would agree with that, and I would think, if I were to just guesstimate how much of the population I would imagine that probably about half
Yeah.
would say that, like, you know what, I don't know exactly what the fuck happened, but something was amiss about that.
But you go back to 2002, 2003, 4, hell, let's throw in 5. Like, no one questioned the government's account of it. And if you even did, like, now it's becoming a little more okay to.
Well, because a lot of time has passed. It's like, you know, no one was going to question World War II. Not that anyone does now. Not to say World War II wasn't totally justified, but just using as an example, when there's ever any kind of war or time of national togetherness, it becomes unpatriotic to question what the government is doing. And they use that to their advantage, absolutely, to pass through. You know, that's how things like the Patriot Act get passed through, because they use a time of national unity and patriotism as a pretense to shove through all these new laws and all these new departments and all this new bullshit, because they know that people are in such a national fervor that they feel so connected to the government and to the rest of the American public that they don't question it. Right. You know, within the few years of some national crisis happening. And they absolutely use that to advantage. There's been tons of laws and tons of bills passed in the wake of national tragedy, war, because it's a very together
and the
time.
most well-known being the Patriot Act.
Absolutely, yeah. Certainly the most well-known of the past 50 years, I would say, being the Patriot Act. So that kind of brings us back to what we were talking about before. We want somebody in office, and this is just, let's just hypothetically say that the whole thing isn't rigged. Okay?
Right.
Just for argument's sake, let's say we do have a deciding vote in who wins.
I mean, we don't, but let's pretend.
I really don't think.
Let's pretend.
I really don't think we do, but let's just pretend we did for a second. Then it would be awesome to have somebody come along who was, someone who was pro-business, someone who was, pro the free market, wanted smaller government, didn't want to just grow government to this massive abundance like everyone has been doing, and wants to just get out of the way, let people live their lives, make their own choices, and and stop the government or this, and the state from telling people what kind of sodas they can drink, what they can smoke, what they can't smoke, what they can do to their body, what they can't do, who they can marry, who they can't marry. It's like, well, who the fuck are you people to say anything about what we do in the privacy of our own homes and what we do to our own bodies? So stop with that draconian bullshit.
Yeah, it's definitely a load of shit. Is right.
Yeah, I was watching a YouTube video the other day of this really awesome guy, and he got pulled over, and he just reamed this fucking cop and a few cops a new one, because like cops traditionally do. Even to people who have no history of criminality or whatever, you get pulled over. It's the first thing they ask you, where are you headed?
Yeah.
Where are you coming from?
Yeah,
you know?
what have you been doing tonight?
Yeah, what have you been doing tonight? And so they started with that with him. Do you have any weapons in the car? And the guy's like, what business of yours is it where I'm going?
Yeah.
Which is within his right to say. You do not have to tell a policeman.
But then they'll try to fuck your ass, though.
Sure, they'll try and fuck you. But if you hold true to your guns, and more importantly, you record them and get some video proof of the interaction, that way you can use something against them. It kind of stops them in their tracks. And so what this guy did, he's like, what is this? Is this World War II era East Germany where there's checkpoints and the police want to see your papers and need to know where you're going and where you're coming from and who you are and what you do? It's like, what business is that of yours? Your job is to enforce the laws that are happening, not to go out and search for crime from innocent people. And you're kind of, it's like, for them, it's like you're guilty until you prove that you're not a criminal. And the cop even said that. He's like, we're looking for criminal activity. And the guy's like, so I'm guilty before I'm proven innocent, so I have to prove my innocence too. I have to prove that I'm not a threat first before you let me go. Yeah. It's complete bullshit.
It is bullshit.
And so the government does the exact same thing on a mass level as the police forces do in all these small towns and cities around the country, where it's like you constantly have to have them over your fucking shoulder, wondering what you're doing, who you're doing it with, why you're doing it, explaining and telling you what to do and not to do in every corner of your life.
Right.
And it's like, where do they get off with that, thinking that they have the right to know any of that information or can dictate any of that?
And while that also is going on, they also are bleeding you dry in the bank.
Financially, sure.
And that's the thing.
Talk about that.
The price of housing keeps going up. Their fucking toll hikes go up.
Ugh, brutal.
But you know what doesn't go up? Your fucking wages.
Your salary, yeah.
Your salary doesn't go up.
Mm-hmm.
So the natural inflation, I suppose, if you can call it that, is it keeps rising and rising and rising.
Yeah, it's a disproportional trend is what's happening.
Right.
Cost of living is becoming more, and people's...
And you're supposed to make more money, but no one's making more money.
People are making more money.
People need to start making more money, but they don't want more rich people in this country, I think. That's...
they want the rich people that are rich as of now to stay that way. They don't want new rich people coming up, because here's the thing: rich people that have their own money, don't need the government, right? Think about it. If you are independently wealthy, you have your own money, you make your own money. What do you need government for? You don't need their health care. You buy your own. You don't need food stamps to buy your own food. You don't need any government system because you have the financial ability to pay for all your own shit.
Yep.
And they don't like that.
No,
they really don't. They want as many people as possible on the government dole in some way, shape, or form, because that in turn grows government. The more people are dependent on government, the bigger government gets, and they like that. So when they see somebody like a small businessman, who came from nothing, and like our fathers did, they're like the children of immigrants who came over to this country and started their own companies or started working for some company and made something of themselves and don't need the government for shit. Not only do they not need it, but they don't want it.
Right.
They don't like those people. Because they don't want that.
And also the way that money seems to disappear, I mean, they really can't afford to pay us more money, can they?
Sure.
Or raise the minimum wage, or
yeah, of course. But then we have these fucking morons like in New York City and shit trying to tell us that people who work at McDonald's should be getting $15 an hour for flipping burgers. Which is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I agree with that, but
you agree that people working at McDonald's should get $15 an hour minimum wage?
No, I don't. But dude, the cost of living, like some people, they literally can't afford to live there.
Right, but working at McDonald's has never been a job made for somebody to support a fucking family on.
I know.
You know what I mean? And
maybe as a manager, but
maybe as a franchise owner. But last time I checked, McDonald's was still a privately owned company. And where does the state get off being able to tell any private company how much they can pay their employees? Right. Think about that. You know what I mean? So McDonald's is not a fucking government sector.
No, but then you got to think about workers' rights too, which I also
Sure, there needs to be workers' rights,
and
absolutely.
Need to be paid a fair wage.
But what's the definition of a fair wage? A fair wage is are there people willing to do the job for the given pay that they're offering? And there are. There's always going to be people working at McDonald's. Whether here's the thing, should they be 50-year-olds with a family of 5 or the 14-year-old kid who needs a job on the weekends? Mm-hmm. Either way, someone is going to take that job, and who are you to say, who is anybody to say who that should be, who it shouldn't be?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of...
Not that I agree with it. Do I want that? Do I want the guy who's working at McDonald's making $7 an hour? Do I want him to have a shitty... No. I know he doesn't have any opportunities. That's why he's there.
Right.
But where does it end?
I know what you're saying. No one wishes anyone to have a shitty life.
No, but unfortunately, you're dealt a certain hand in life, and it's an un-American. It's a slippery slope to start intervening, picking the winners and losers.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That is the liberals and all these government. They always talk about what's fair, what's not fair. To me, picking and choosing who wins and who loses, that saying that okay, this guy makes $10 million a year, that's way too much. You know, this guy lives in too big of a house. You don't need all that. You know, that's what they did in Russia. You know, they went to people's homes, rich people, and they're like, you know, you live here with just your wife in this massive 7-bedroom home.
I know.
You know, you don't need all that.
You see those couple rooms there?
Yeah, you see all these rooms there? We're going to take all these poor people from over here, and we're going to move them in to your house because it's not fair. It's not fair that you have all this space to yourself and these people don't. You understand?
Yeah.
That is what that is history. That is what happened in that country with the Soviet Union.
It's a fact.
It happened. And it's slowly starting to happen here. And it's things like that. It's things like that that lead up to it. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
I know, and people will tell you, "Well, that's not going to happen here." Look, that's a crazy example.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But dude,
is it really though?
Little by little. No, it's not.
Yeah, is it really? When you really think about because they didn't just go to instantly doing that. I mean, they didn't go from a perfectly peaceful democratic civilization to that.
No one. They never do it overnight. Hitler didn't take over fucking Germany overnight.
That's a perfect example. Of course not. It never happens overnight. It's a slow progression. These people are patient. They play the long game. They're chess masters. They play the long game. It's all about the long game, and they are patient as fuck. And they do it slowly but surely.
Slowly and gentle. Think about it.
Like a slow fucking a virgin.
It's like taking a dick all at once hard.
Yeah.
Or taking it little by little. Just
inch
a little
at a
bit
time.
of the tip.
Take the tip.
Just
lube it up.
A quarter of the dick. 16th of the dick.
Slide it in nice and gentle.
Next thing you know, you're about half an inch in.
Right. So
inch in.
Let's use a great example.
A quarter.
So, Mr. Blue, let me ask you this. Let's say you got a nice prime virgin. Let's just say she was your age. Somehow she was a virgin for her whole life. She's not like 12 or anything like that. So let's say she's like a 25-year-old virgin, even though you're older than 25. You old fuck. Okay, let's just say, let's just say, would you on your first night spending with this woman cram your cock into her like a fucking Neanderthal?
No, I wouldn't.
Or would you gently ease into this nice woman that you want to marry and make your wife?
I'd be smooth as silk.
Exactly.
Very
and they
gentle.
are smooth as silk in the public ass fucking of the country. Okay?
All right.
If anybody disagrees with me here, feel free to write. You can call.
Comment
Please.
below.
If I'm saying anything that sounds crazy or that sounds ridiculous to you, please tell me and tell me why.
And we're not experts on politics. I'm certainly not an expert on politics.
No, I don't claim to know anything. I just have observations.
But we all have our opinions, and like you said, we all have eyes and we observe.
Exactly. All we're doing.
Eyes and ears.
We've been around for a little while. I've lived a certain life. I've done certain things. I've seen certain things, and because of those things, I've developed opinions on how I think things work. Am I right? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
you ever read the Believe What You Believe?
Everybody does. But more importantly than just disagreeing, I've presented a fair amount of facts and a fair amount of reason and backdrop to my thinking. I don't just flatly say I think the government is corrupt. Well, what do you mean by that, asshole?
Well,
how?
You do have to back up your beliefs.
You have to back up your beliefs if you want them to hold any clout. You know. Yeah. So if you don't agree, why? You know, what do you think? And I would really love to know. I will never tell anybody who has a sincere and honest reasoning behind their opinion to go fuck themselves, whether I wholeheartedly disagree or not. Never.
And that's the thing. If you notice with these liberals these days, they have no tolerance of a differing opinion.
Absolutely none.
None. I can tolerate their horse shit, and I want to strangle them sometimes. Some of the shit I read,
but they can't tolerate yours for a second.
God for fucking bid, I give my opinions. They wanted me to fucking hang me at the stake.
Do you know what? Let's just say we're way more famous than we are, and
right.
CNN or Fox News played this clip on their piece of shit show. What they would say about us? How they would ream us apart.
Oh my god!
Tear us a new asshole.
People fucking.
Just
they'd probably give out our phone numbers.
Get our phone numbers or addresses and our pictures and have people picketing our fucking houses. They hate us so much on what we're saying because they know it's fucking true.
Yeah.
Deep down, they really do.
Yeah.
And they don't want anybody talking about it.
But in some ways I welcome. It's like, bring it on.
Oh, I would love it.
Just fucking bring it on. I'm not fucking afraid of these.
Yeah, because I have reasoning and I have strong core beliefs and facts to back up every fucking thing that I say. And I will stand toe-to-toe with anybody and debate them all fucking night about this shit. Because I don't form any opinion that I have half-heartedly.
Look, we're becoming...
Nobody should.
And look, I'm no Billy Badass. But, like, we're really, as a nation, becoming... I know it's been said over and over again, as of late, by people who do have a little bit of sense. We're becoming very weak as a nation. Very weak. We're a bunch of weak-minded individuals...
Mm-hmm. Easily manipulated
and kind of want to keep weak and fucking. They're like castrating castrating men.
Right.
Want to make us all a bunch of pussies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the new standard for what a man should be.
Can't offend anybody.
A sensitive little pussy.
Can't offend anybody.
No, of course not.
How do you end up getting shit done?
How do you?
It gets to a point where like you literally can't open your mouth without offending somebody.
If you're constantly walking on eggshells, wherever you go,
suck it up.
Fuck that.
Dude, that's how it used to be. Dude, even when we were kids, it was like that.
Yeah.
It was like, suck it up.
Suck it up.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's...
Grow a thicker skin.
Learn to deal with it. That's life, kid. Yeah, you got a pat on your head. That's life. Learn to deal with it. Not, oh, poor you. Are your feelings hurt?
I mean, we were in the generation of kids who got trophies.
Yeah, we were.
We did get that. But
super entitled generation. Yeah, absolutely. But that started when we were really like...
we're getting a little bit older.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit older.
We're getting a little past that.
But we were still. I would say we're still a part of that generation. Absolutely. Anybody in their 20s right now is pretty much in that generation.
Still in that generation.
But we're kind of at the tail end of it. So we kind of still at least remember a time when it wasn't like that, and we remember the shift when it happened. Like we were really young, and it was, hey, fuck you, you didn't win, go home, you're a loser.
Yes, we were very...
A few years later was everyone gets a trophy, and we're like, what happened?
Sentient.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. We really saw and felt the change.
As it happened. Yeah, as it happened. And even though we were very young, we were like, this sounds odd. Just a few years ago, you were saying one thing, and now... You're saying the exact opposite thing. Last year, I didn't get any awards for attendance. This year, I'm getting an award just for showing up.
This minority group of people, for some reason, they had the loudest voice. And for some reason, they can somehow cause all this change.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very small minority, especially now with social media and Twitter. A very small, select group of people can be very, very loud. And they can make it seem like that everybody's talking about a certain thing, but in reality, it's just a few people tweeting the shit out of it and blowing it up.
That fucking Jew writer saying that the prisoner of war flag is racist.
The POW flag? Yeah, I didn't hear that one. How exactly is the POW flag racist?
I just want to fucking smash his Jew face in. I mean,
By the way, we are not anti-Semites at the Miscreant Hour.
I'm not, but when some guy's just a faggy little fucking Jew?
Yeah. And sometimes he doesn't even have to be an actual Jew to be a faggy little Jew.
He just happens to be.
He just happens to be a Jew, but you could be a faggy little Jew and not be an actual Jewish person.
But... oh god, this is just gonna. I'm just gonna bury myself here.
You've already buried yourself. Just dig it a little deeper.
Just a little deeper.
There's a shovel. Dig.
But some look, not all Jews.
But, oh man, you're going deep.
But some look. Have you not met some Jews in your life who are like they're just fucking Jewy?
Yeah,
they're just really fucking Jewy.
I could say something right now that would absolutely get me scorned. I don't think I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut
I'll
myself
say it off the
here,
air.
but
We'll talk about this a little more off the air.
I'm just gonna stop myself from continuing, but and maybe this is why we don't do a video podcast.
Yeah, because I think people saw our faces. They would want to kill us for our retarded, stupid.
I don't know. Whatever. All right, what else we got? I know we had some.
Well, that was good. We talked for a good half hour about that, and normally we don't do too many political shows, but I think it's important, especially right now, to talk about that more. And if you guys like, obviously we'll take some critiques if you guys want to hear more about that side of things, and you kind of like where we're going with things, or you don't like it but don't want to hear it anyway. Let us know, and we'll talk more about that.
And I wish we could get more people like talking with us. That's what I wish.
Yeah, we could start doing that.
I wish we were more like a radio show where people could call in.
More community, I mean. Well, at some point, maybe we can be
cool.
that way.
I'd love to have people call in and, you can tell
give their opinion right away.
That'd be great.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, well, if we start doing a live show at some point and enough people decide that they care enough to call in, then maybe that'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of change topic a little bit. We had to refresh our drinks.
And now, we had a little bit of a break. During that break, we got...
Which is funny. You guys can't tell that we had a break.
Buzz.
We got a little more buzz on. You can't tell we took a break because this is not a live show. You might be able to tell from our slightly drunk voices that we took a break. But the important thing about that is that as we were, breaking and talking, we started rehashing kind of old stories and various things. And do you want to tell them a little bit about what we talked about just now?
Yes, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
It was a few weeks ago.
We spoke about the Brad story.
Right.
Where, this guy who owned a tattoo shop near where me and Skaggs live, he offered Skaggs a complete free apprenticeship, which anyone in the tattoo world knows is very rare.
Right. Started the whole process.
And this guy's a professional, making a lot of money, very good artist.
Yep.
And, I don't want to rehash the whole story, but we know how Skaggs dropped the ball, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's really being generous.
Really being generous. Yep. I fucked him. I burned him.
But there's another part of the story where Skaggs was trying to get in the back of the good graces with Brad. And
this is the part of the story that Mr. Blue previously this night had not known. And me, relaying this part of the story on him was such a sheer just flow of ridiculousness that he couldn't even...
And one of the things was that we know that I don't think anybody actually knows, but Skaggs he does paintings and watercolor art, drawings. He does art on the side as a little hobby and enjoys it. He has some cool stuff here. I see right here in the apartment. But he made this really cool painting of a complete skeleton wearing a pink dress. With a gas mask laying in a desert. Yeah. And he gave to Brad to hang in his tattoo shop. And after, all those past atrocities took place, like everything that went against Guy Code, Cardinal rules, everything broken, went against everything, every kind of Guy Code, not to be a complete faggot, call it Guy Code, but everything you can imagine goes against any kind of friendship rules.
Yeah, broken every run.
Right. He calls Brad after all of that and asks, hey, what's up, Brad? Hey, would I be able to come by and pick up my painting? What a fucking asshole.
The balls on me.
What balls is right, man?
Oh, man. And this was after, and you guys aren't going to understand this as much, anybody who doesn't do recording software, especially, a decade ago. But in the recording software world, there's this piece of software called Ableton Live, right? Back then, it was version like 3 or 4 that was out, and we would try to use it to record some music.
It was the third, fourth best software available.
Yeah, literally like the third, fourth. That's what we had. It was total shit.
Absolutely, yeah.
I tried, after literally defiling and fucking his girlfriend, giving her drugs, totally ruining our friendship, I tried to buy him off by giving him a copy, a burned copy of this piece of shit software.
This fucking
amateur
third bit
shit software.
It's like going to the fucking guy's house. It's like, hey, I got this really great copy of Windows 95.
Yeah, well, this make it all good.
Everything's cool.
Everything's fine, right?
Yeah, everything's cool, right? Like I gave Windows 95, and
that's exactly what it was
this
like.
is the olive branch.
That's a perfect explanation of what it's fucking like. So I drove up to his place and I left on top of his car.
What were you thinking when you like got in your car with Ableton Live?
I was thinking, this is gonna fix it for me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, this is gonna be it. Yeah, I really thought in my delusional drug haze, because at the time I was super deep in my addiction and I was shooting speedballs all the time and I was a fucking mess. I really thought in that totally drugged out delusional haze that giving my former best friend this piece of shit, third-rate, fucktard of a recording software was going to be enough to repair our broken relationship.
So did you like imagine in your mind
I had it all played out, dude.
that Brad was going to wake up in the morning? Oh, God. All right, I guess it's time to go back to the tattoo shop. All right. All right, he puts on his boots and his little combat boots that Brad wore and walks out to his car. Oh, fuck. God damn, it's cold today. Damn it.
What's
Wait,
this?
is this a CD on my car?
Oh,
What?
wow. Little note?
No. Ableton. Hey, Brad. Here's a copy of Ableton Live. Later. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Later. And he's like, fucking Ableton Live?
What the fuck?
And look, this joke might be getting too techie, but it's not Cubase.
It's
It's not a Pro Tools. It's the
nothing of the sort.
shittiest recording software
Piece
you
of
could
shit.
possibly own.
Literally, it's like Blue said. It's like you have a MacBook Pro running the latest version of Mac OS X, and you give somebody a gift of Windows 95, and they're like, "What the fuck am I gonna do with this?" And I literally thought that he was gonna be like, "Oh wow,
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
fucking sweet.
Dude,
it's totally okay.
Thanks for the hookup, bro.
Thanks for hooking me up. It's okay. You fucked my girl and gave her heroin, bro.
Yeah, nah, no problem. Ableton Live, that was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, great.
Big ups.
What a dick.
Didn't happen. I was a fucking dick.
Wow.
Asshole. Then I called him back a week later, asked him my painting back. After all of this,
God.
he responded in kind saying, "Your painting is a pile of ashes. I burned it." And I had the
As it
nerve.
should be.
I had the nerve to be tight about it and be like, dude, as a fellow artist, I got all self-righteous. But dude, as a fellow artist, I can't believe you would burn somebody's work after I fucking.
You know, he's like, fuck you.
He's like, he was like, fuck you. After what I did to him, like that was the nicest. He should have killed me in my sleep.
Really, you're lucky he didn't.
He almost did. And I would have deserved it. I wouldn't have even fought back. I would have done
And
nothing.
That's what it was. That soft spot that let you into his life to begin with
is what stopped
kept
him from killing. He
you,
would
I
have
think.
killed me, and he would have had every right to. But he was a fellow addict. He had been sober for a long time, and he was a fellow artist. So he saw me. He thought I was talented, and he saw that I was struggling, and he wanted to help me. And he went out of his way to like give me a chance and try and get me clean and put me on the path of art to kind of do what. Do for me what worked for him. Yeah, drag me out of that deep funk. And I repaid him with that kindness by totally fucking him. And I was just saying to Blue before this that I've done a lot of depraved, really foul shit in my days. But when you do something that fucked up to a good friend, it's totally different. Like I fucked over a lot of strangers, whatever, in the course of business with drugs and whatever. But, fucking over somebody that you're that close to, that's extended an olive branch, extended a hand to you, and doing them so dirty. Something is just so fucked about that. And this happened a long time ago, and I still feel like shit about it.
And I was saying before, I know it haunts you more because it was, because you know how different your life could actually be right now.
I have not done that.
It was literally, even though you were really young at the time and you still have a lot of life to live, that was really one of your crossroads. And really one that you needed, and the one that you really needed to make the right decision on, and you didn't.
I made the wrong one.
And I know, I'm sure that's part of the reason why he probably eats at you a little bit.
Yeah.
Other than just being like an asshole friend.
Yeah, just generally. But yeah, that's a good point. It was it was a turning point. I mean, I had already been addicted and strung out for a while before that, but it got to the point where like I was faced with every once in a while in our lives, whether you're addicted to drugs or not, you're faced with certain choices that are more important than other choices, and it's what we call a crossroads in life, right? So you can either go one way or you can go the other way, and depending on which choice you choose, it does severely impact your future, the rest of your life. And I had the opportunity to take one path which would have led to sobriety, a successful art career, a very good friend, lifelong friend, and I chose the exact opposite path. Was this girl crazy, manipulative? Was I addicted, not in my right mind? Yes, all those things were true and did shape what happened, but that's not to take any accountability off of me. Just because you're addicted and you're strung out and other people may be baiting you into something doesn't take away your accountability for the choices that you make. Period.
I mean, look, and it's hard when you have a girl. I know, speaking personally, like, you know me and my things with, you know, sex and women.
Yeah, and you've met crazy psychotic girls, and this girl was
dude, if I had a
was very
girl,
nuts.
and she was attractive. I've only met her, I think, once or twice. But she was attractive. If I had her over my place alone, like
high on drugs, fucked up,
taking her clothes off, literally begging for it,
seducing
it would be really hard not to.
For any guy, it would be difficult. And again,
really
I'm not condoning anything. But
no, it absolutely is not condoning.
But still, to compare it to a person in their right mind who is not on the influence of any drugs, who is with a completely normal girl, who is not trying to seduce them or be manipulative or psychotic in any way, shape, or form, and all of a sudden you just randomly fuck your best friend's girl. I think that would be quite a bit different.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why, Blue asked me before, like, oh, has he kind of forgiven you since then? Obviously this was a long time ago, and years later, we did kind of meet up, and he did forgive me in just a kind of very generic way. We were never going to become friends again because that relationship was so broken, but he did forgive me because he did realize afterwards how psychotic his girl really was, that I was really deep in my addiction. As a fellow addict, he's done some fucked up shit too, so he kind of understood, but it was never going to be the same.
But unfortunately, it's like you can't
recover.
Yeah.
There's
when something like that happens.
Yeah, when something that drastic happens to a friendship or a relationship or any kind, it breaks it. And even if there's like a fundamental kind of respect and that you don't not like the person, you can't at the same time be with them again and be friends with them again in any way. It's just done.
You can't get that thing out of your mind.
No, it'll always be there.
You can't forget like what happened, like what he did.
Yeah.
You just like, even though you're over it, you may even forgiven it.
Mm-hmm.
But you still just can't. You won't be able to not remember it.
Right. There's some things you can't put back together. Sometimes you break a vase, you can kind of glue the pieces back together. But sometimes you break something and it's so shattered and so broken that not in a million years could you ever piece it back together and glue the pieces back together and have anything resembling what it first looked like.
But even then, you still have the cracks.
Yes, you do.
The cracks will still be very visible.
Yeah, right. So that's our, it's our shit story for the week. And look, we've all done fucked up shit. Whether it's because we've been fucked up on drugs or alcohol or whatever it is, and we have to live with the consequences of the actions and the things that we've done. And I talk to people a lot about this, fellow addicts, people in recovery, whatever, about feeling guilt over our past deeds, and for a lot of people that's why they relapse. For a lot of people, whether they do drugs or not, they go back to just bad behaviors in general because they feel guilty about the certain things that they've done in their life. And as hard as it is to let those things go, you kind of have to move forward. And something we all struggle with. I struggle with it. I maybe have a little bit more things to feel guilty about than others, but that's my lot. What am I gonna do?
You have like a genuinely deep natural affliction / addiction to. You're just like predisposed to that kind of behavior. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was always in your makeup, and I think as long as you at any point in your life came across drugs, alcohol, anything that could even potentially have some kind of dependency linked to it.
Yeah, that it was going to happen.
That was going to happen.
Yeah. I think so too, because I've replayed it in my mind many times. I've wondered, well, what could have been if this happened, if this hadn't happened.
You could, you could have postponed it.
Sure,
you could have pushed it
but
back,
it probably would have happened eventually
but at
anyway.
some
At
point, it probably would have happened.
Yep.
That much I can say confidently, because I thought, hell, as a friend, I thought about it for a while too. A little bit of guilt, like saying, did I kind of like, did I play a little bit of part in him maybe again in this? And yeah, sure. But I also knew deep down, like, you know what, though? We all kind of, like, we didn't fall into the same kind of depth that you reached.
Yeah.
Or, like, we were able to get out of it in some ways because of chemically in our makeup, we're a little bit different.
Right, yeah, you weren't physically made up. Your brain chemistry wasn't the same to the point where it affected you the same way it did me. And I think that's why a lot of people need to realize that about addiction is that there is
different that way.
Yeah, there is a genetic makeup and a predisposition and a certain brain chemistry that lends itself to that kind of issue. So it's hard to understand comparing yourself as a normal functioning or just a different functioning brain compared to somebody else who's an addict. But you have to think of it in that context because it is totally different. You know, it's like,
and at the same time, we were all kids, and
that's I've had people ask me like, or they ask in general why people start using, and for me, I don't know about anybody else. I can't answer anybody else's answer that question. But for me, I was young, super young, and just naive and stupid, and I glorified it like all young children do because you're stupid and you're young. That's it. That's how it is. That's the side effect of being young, is that you don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
And I happened to come across it at a very early point in my life, at a very malleable point in my life, and I took that road. And by the time I realized it was already fucked up, it was much too late.
A little too late.
But that we've talked about that before, and we can get deeper into that in another discussion. But for now, I would like to just thank everybody for coming back and listening to another one of our babbling sessions. We appreciate it. By the way, our show is now on Libsyn.com. We have left Podomatic,
right? Which
because they fucking suck.
They updated their site.
And it sucks.
It's just a load of fucking shit.
Total bullshit. As you guys know, we used to be hosted on Podomatic.com. That's where you could find all of our stuff.
We took out ad space, and a lot of podcasts on there also have banners.
Right. Ad space banners, yeah.
But with their new update, you can't see anybody's banner.
Yeah, it's the navigation of the site itself is difficult.
I couldn't even get to the comedy section.
The banners are gone.
I didn't even know how to like a certain podcast. You know how you used to
was
be like
so
heart
bad.
or like a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
The statistics were broken, so we couldn't tell how many people were viewing our fucking episodes. The whole site literally just broke, and we were paying all this money to host on the site and to advertise on their site.
Why are we doing
Yeah,
this?
why are we doing this? So we fucking left their asses for bigger and better things. So we are now on Libsyn.com. You can find us on there. Obviously, you can find us on iTunes.
Do they have to pay to hear us on Libsyn?
No.
All right, good.
It's still free. It's still free.
I went on the Libsyn website, and it seemed like they charge like a subscription to...
No, that's an option. Like, you can, if you want to open up a subscription to your show, you can. Where you can charge people to listen to your show or to certain parts of your show, but overall it's still free until you make that decision.
Good.
So for now, everything is still free. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Libsyn. You can just Google our name and
We're absolutely
YouTube.
free on YouTube. I know that. So.
And also, obviously, GrindFactor.com. So thank you very much. Please like, follow, rate, blah, blah, blah. All of our episodes. Subscribe if you want to. And catch us next week.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.